This is Eddie Hearn, you're watching DONTAE'S Boxing Nation.
DONTAE'S Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Now, for quite some time, there's been some rumors surfacing that Olympian Lawrence Okolie knocked out Anthony Joshua in sparring. So did David Price. And a 19-year-old heavyweight prospect, Daniel Dubois, rocked Anthony Joshua on multiple occasions in sparring. Now, surprisingly enough, when Anthony Joshua responded to these rumors, he didn't deny it. He never denied that any of these guys knocked him out or hurt him. But he did come straight out and admit that David Price did knock him out as an amateur when he was an amateur and David Price was a pro. Now, before I quote exactly what Anthony Joshua had to say, I want to make it very clear, this really has nothing to do with how good Anthony Joshua is when he's in that ring and when it really counts. This is just sparring. I mean, Mike Tyson has been knocked down in sparring. So many fighters have been hurt, staggered when it comes to sparring. But sparring is not a real match. That's where you practice your craft. Speaking of practicing your craft and perfecting your craft, let me go ahead and quote exactly what Anthony Joshua had to say in response, because he was asked a question, I guess with GQ magazine, if he was in fact knocked out or hurt really bad by these other heavyweights. And this is what he had to say. Quote, "In my code, the fighter's code, it is not good to talk about sparring. If someone invites you to spar, they are inviting you into their secret camp, their inner circle. So I don't think it is fair to betray that trust by talking about it. I don't go in there to prove a point. If anything, I like to take more punishment because that is how I learn about myself. What is the point of going into sparring and beating up everyone, when in a real fight the tables might turn and I don't know how to handle it? I want to practice what it feels like to be hit and hurt. You have to learn how to defend, to be slick when the punches are raining down." End quote. Now, I don't know if I necessarily buy fighters going in there to purposely get hurt. That, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but I do understand the point that Anthony Joshua is making overall, which basically he's saying that is the laboratory. That's where you practice your craft. But when you listen to what Anthony Joshua said, it almost confirms the fact that he really did get knocked out by Okolie and probably hurt and staggered really bad by Dubois. Because if you notice, when he's asked the question, one of the first things he starts talking about is, I want to get hurt sometime. It's good to get hurt so that I could see how it feels and so that I can learn more about myself, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, when you answer a question like that, when you're asked, did you get knocked out or hurt really bad? That's a pretty good indication that you really did get hurt like that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Anthony Joshua, he's training hard. He's in there with young lions. And of course, these young lions, they want to prove something when they get in the ring. And, it is part of the learning process. It is part of preparation for big fights. Now, hopefully, him getting knocked out or staggered before he gets in the ring with Klitschko doesn't affect his performance, because I know in some instances, when it comes to certain fighters, they talk about certain fighters getting knocked out in sparring and not having anything left once they end up fighting on fight night. I don't think that's going to be the case with Anthony. He's young and, he's full of energy, so I don't think that will be the case with him, but you never really know. So, but that's pretty much all I got on the situation. Once again, Anthony Joshua, he never denied the fact that he was knocked out. He just talked about the code of silence that sparring partners and teammates are supposed to keep when someone does get hurt. So that's pretty much all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
This is Bobby, and you're watching DONTAE'S Boxing Nation.